It's showtime.
Ba-da-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Podcasts are the best, except for when they're not.
Come to think there's really just a handful that don't suck.
And that's where we come in. Podcast reviews by Carl Goldberg, Commander, and
Andy.
WATP. 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 Who are these podcasts?
WATP.
Who likes these podcasts? Not WATP. Who makes these podcasts? That one's beyond me. Who are these podcasts? WATP.
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 Hello and welcome to another episode of Who Are These Podcasts? We listen to podcasts so that you don't have to. I'm your host, Kara. With me today, back once again, the greatest of all time, it's Andy.
What up, bag slappers?
I'd like to remind our listeners you can visit us at whoarethese.com, our Facebook page, or on Twitter at whoarethesepod. We've had a lot of activity on Twitter over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, is it about how great the teaser is?
Well, there's a lot of that.
Of course.
I have to weed through all of that to get to our friends over at Everyone Has a Podcast, EHAP.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
They were not thrilled with our podcast about them, so I will be responding to that later in the show. And I actually have a new clip from their show that we're going to play, so we have a lot to get to today.
Oh. And if there's any podcast where I'm certain there's going to be backlash, it's this one we're doing today.
Today we'll be reviewing a podcast called Cumtown. It's a listener suggestion from Brandon. Andy and I both listened to the show separately. We have not discussed it with each other beforehand. Let's get into it. We listened to episode 75 entitled The Voice of the Left. This is a show hosted by Nick Mullen and Stavros Halkias.
Is that right? Because you would have no fucking idea who hosts this show.
I know.
By the way, if you're coming in cold and this is the one you came in cold on, that's probably the first thing.
I listened to a few other episodes. I think they're all kind of like that.
Well, play my clip one because this one is called Who's the Host of This?
I'm Dan Carlin, not to be confused with George Carlin, who I'm of a very similar. I don't know anything about Dan Carlin, other than he has a show called Hardcore History.
I don't know that show. I don't know who Dan Carlin is.
You don't know Hardcore History with Dan Carlin?
No.
Oh, it's one of the best podcasts around.
But, like, he doesn't go on to introduce himself.
No, they don't. They never introduce themselves.
I still don't know who the people on this show are, and I recommend that nobody know who they are.
All right, so here's the deal, Andy. These guys have a huge following. There is a very active subreddit for Cumtown. Their fans are called Cumboys.
I saw that too, and
can I tell you that I went to the thread for this specific episode 75, and the very first, so this one is the one that got voted up the most. The very first comment under is, Dan Carlin's Hard R History is one of the best intros since D, this is the fucking news. So I don't know if this is a thing they do where they introduce the show by having like a different show that they pretend is the show and they all laugh about that. But yeah, I played that as the teaser last week. It's so bizarre how it comes out of the gate. They're all just giggling at nonsense.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to understand what's going on.
100%. The other guy that is the co-host.
Yes.
Just relentless laughing.
All right, so let's talk about Stav real quick.
Yeah,
Stavros, or they call him Stav. He is the fat Greek guy on the show, and he's got this laugh that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I went ahead and put together a compilation.
Oh, I was wondering if
let's get right off the bat with my my Stavlov compilation.
The guy that challenged rodeo finals.
Shut the fuck up.
To clarify,
25 more seconds to go.
No, God.
I put your fingers. Did. Saying.
Could have said it better myself,
Holy
Cobra Commander.
Shit. You know, it reminded me of, Jabba the Hutt's little sidekick.
Yeah,
Salacious Pete Crumb.
Dude, so this show is about an hour long, and 33% of it is the co-host laughing.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre.
And when he's not doing that, he's making the same hack joke about, like, you look it up the ass. Like,
there's a lot of jokes about up the
I
ass
hash marked
stuff.
it 15 times.
15 up the ass jokes?
Somebody is referred to it. It's
Can I show you something?
What?
Because it seems like you didn't do a lot of research on these hosts.
No, I did not.
Stav has an Instagram called StavyBaby2.
Okay.
And what he does is he poses for pictures. I want to take you to take a look at this. He loves being naked.
Oh.
He's an overweight gentleman. And he poses in these ridiculous things. There's one out here. I'm probably going to upload it to our website so people can see it. It's my favorite one. This one right here. How ridiculous is that? Check out whoarethese.com. I'll put this in the show notes. The Instagram for this guy, he's just shameless. He just loves being fat and naked. And I didn't like him on this podcast,
over
but
again.
I started... I don't know, it was a little bit endearing when I saw that. I was like, all right, I kind of like this guy.
Sense of humor about himself.
Real quick, I just want to play. So that was a long compilation of him laughing, and that's him just laughing throughout the whole show.
Yeah.
There's just one, Andy, that is what I call fucking crazy laugh. So I just wanted to isolate just this one here. Sounded like he was having a stroke at that. That was bizarre. The other host is Nick Mullen, and they're all stand-up comedians. Then there's a third guy.
Allegedly.
There's a third guy. Now, the third guy, if you go to their website, it only talks about the two guys. But this third guy seems to be part of the show, seems to be a co-host. His name is Adam Friedland.
Okay.
Okay? Did you know that?
No.
Right. I didn't think so. They don't make it clear. It's very difficult to even know
I didn't know
what's going
anybody's
on.
name until like maybe the last 10 minutes of the show, and then by then I didn't care.
All right. So Adam is another stand-up comedian. They're all based in New York City. And I went and did a little research on his stand-up.
Okay.
I'm going to play you one of his bits. So
It's always a disaster.
I think we've made it pretty clear that these guys are into just poop jokes and putting things up people's asses.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's pretty much what the show is. So you might expect his stand-up to be a little something like this.
And I got on the train, I was riding home, and I cacked. I poo-pooed my... 28 years old, I did a caca, I did caca poo-poo in my pants. And it was very embarrassing. I was on the train, I dumped in my pants.
So that's a whole bit about pooping his pants and just saying different words for the word poop.
Yeah.
And people are laughing at that. So, I mean, alcohol is a great thing when you're a stand-up.
Right, yeah.
But holy
thank
shit.
God for alcohol. Too bad you didn't have that guy cackling next to him.
He should have brought Stav with him, yeah. Caca! That would have been perfect.
Yeah. There's no theme song. There's no
there's zero
introduction.
production.
This show breaks all the rules of making a good podcast.
Well, that's right. In fact, there's even a part in here where they're in the middle of the show and people just randomly walk into the room.
Right.
They were in the middle of a boring conversation. Could have easily been edited out, and they don't. I'll just play that for you real quick.
Followed up with 2 pints of Ben and Jerry's.
Yes.
Okay, I went peanut butter core. He goes fucking, hey, Dana.
Hi. Hey.
Whoa, hello.
Wow,
How's it going, man?
yeah.
I don't know you, but nice to meet you. Hey, Alex.
We're gonna broadcasts for
Yeah.
another 40 minutes. No, it's fine.
No, it's
We have-
okay. I was just telling everyone a disgusting thing I put in my
Our friend-
body.
So they're talking about what they ate the
No,
night before.
I clipped these too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
recently. I saw you had a clip on this. And it's such a boring conversation. It's like, you won't believe what we ate.
Right.
So first we ordered this chicken. I'll play your clip if it makes sense. Did you have anything
it's
that you wanted
3.
to... Yeah, okay.
Had 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's. And then 40 minutes later, we ordered 2 things of chicken tenders, an egg hero with 3 eggs,
Yeah.
tomatoes, mayonnaise, cheese, chicken tenders and fries. He had another pint,
Yeah.
and I had a pack of Oreos and a thing of chocolate milk.
This is not a show. This week on WATP, Carl, we're going to go to Wendy's and read the dollar menu.
Who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, exactly. And it was funny because he was talking about that, and then they get interrupted because people just randomly walk in.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, he's like, all right, so where was I? So then we order this, and you're like, what? Why are we talking about that? So, again, Andy, I'm going to go back to the subreddit on this show, and Hollow Man, who got voted up, says, it is completely beyond me how Stav and Eldis ate that much. I mean, he has to be exaggerating, right? How is that real?
Yeah.
This is the conversation going on around this podcast. It's like these people live in a different fucking universe.
Yeah, you know.
And I do think that there is a lot of inside jokes. These people are heavily invested in the show. And there's definitely a shtick going on where they're above doing any type of prep work or production or post. Everything is about just like how out of control and random it is.
It's clear that minimal effort is going into
Right.
this.
I mean, they even put typos in the description of the show on purpose. And
Oh, that's intentional?
yeah. I mean, you
just
could
thought
tell
they were
these guys.
morons.
This is like their gig is being the anti making a good podcast. In fact, I think you have a great example of a clip that you pulled together. One of my biggest pet peeves that we always talk about with podcasts, besides the fact that just having a random conversation with your friends is not a show,
Right.
is people talking over each other.
Oh, I heard this. I knew you. I was certain you'd clip this, so I just
I would have if
grabbed
you
it.
hadn't. Here it is.
Actually,
No,
the
I
dust,
wasn't
the
wrong.
Dust
Thank
Bowl.
you, Dana.
Hold on.
Dana was here.
Dana said
Hold on.
Midwest, bitch.
I would get
Dana
a little
said
bit more
Midwest.
respect.
First
if
of
I could-
all,
This show makes about $250,000 a year through Patreon.
No way.
You didn't know that?
No.
They have 5,000 patrons who are subscribed to their Patreon, giving between $5 and $15 a month. They are raking in money for this show. They have a huge audience.
That's insulting.
They have a huge audience that will soon be shitting all over WATP. Looking forward to that. We'll be discussing the ramifications of this show probably next episode.
I think the only thing they didn't do that I hate about podcasts is eat on mic.
Well, yeah. Thankfully.
Yeah, but I
They
wouldn't have been
talked about
surprised
eating.
if they did.
Right. They talked about eating.
Well, yeah. The other thing they did was talk about what happens after everything they eat. Play my track 4.
fiber is bullshit in my mind. I mean, fiber's
Fiber plus
necessary.
fat. Fiber plus
Yeah,
fat.
yeah.
Now you're talking about a nice shit.
Because
And then that turns into a 10-minute conversation
Yes.
about shit.
A lot of poop talk. I listened to this episode a couple of times through. As I mentioned, I listened to actually some other episodes of theirs too. I was trying to embrace this because it has such a huge fan base. I'm trying to understand what is this world. In fact, I was doing a lot of research on these guys. They were actually on Anthony Cumia on his Compound show. And I subscribed to Anthony Cumia's show, so I was able to go in and watch some of that for a little bit. That's where I got turned on to the Stabby Baby or Stabby Baby Instagram.
Okay.
They had Jim Norton on their show early on. There's definitely a
On
lot of
this show?
Yes, there's.
Shut
I
up.
know. It's so weird. It sounds like teenagers making poop jokes to
It
each
sounds
other.
like study hall.
Right.
And D- students sitting at the table behind me, a conversation that they would be having.
It's so odd to me because the audience seems like immature children, right?
For
this
sure.
show. So I can't figure out how this is all happening, that they have this big a fan base and this following that's going on with a show that has no format, very few funny jokes, although there were some things that I laughed
I
at.
will be honest. I thought that Nick had some good punchlines and
Yeah.
some quick jokes, but it all gets ruined by Stav's laugh.
Right,
'Cause
well, that's
when
true.
everything is funny, nothing is funny. It can't all be hilarious all the time.
Correct. So let me just play you a couple examples real quick. This is...
Oh, you don't want to talk about this Tupperware full of my morning shit that I brought? Because that's a content for a show, right?
This is them talking about the rodeo. One of the guys went to a rodeo's final. I think Adam did. And here's a hilarious joke. Spoiler alert, it's about a butt.
Okay, I was at they had the rodeo finals in Las Vegas.
That's what they called your ass for rodeo finals.
Be more funny.
Yeah, now tell that punchline 14 more times.
So
and that's the show.
So that is the show. It's like the rodeo finals. That's your ass. Okay, but listen to this. This is way later in the show. They go back to talking about the rodeo for some reason, and the other guy tries to throw in a similar joke, and for no reason it bombs. This is so bizarre to me because you've been hearing this. It's just nonstop giggling at each other. And then this guy throws out what he thinks is a gem because he has a lot of conviction behind it. And then just listen how this goes over.
They give you the hat.
Yeah. My
That's
asshole
what they compete for at the rodeo.
They call my asshole the bucking bronco.
Very nice.
Yeah. And that is why we're the leading podcast.
It was jarring to me. I'm like, that guy just said the same kind of
why
joke
is it
we've been
funny
saying
when that guy
all.
says it, but when the other guy says it, it's not funny.
We've been saying that joke all episode. And everyone's cracking the fuck up, and now all of a sudden they're just like, oh, okay. It's so bizarre to me. And then they went back to one of their old bits, the Chinese Charlton Heston.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
All right, this is fun.
He played the Chinese guy. I think we talked about that.
Which
in a movie.
one?
Or was that Charlton Heston?
Heston played the Chinese guy.
I'm sure.
That was one of our early bits.
Yeah,
was
it
Chinese
was.
Charlton Heston.
Classic.
People love that one.
They loved it, yeah.
Meat. Sucky, sucky.
What other?
Excuse me. No sucking way.
Woo! Woo! Yeah, that one got a big laugh. That's a good bit.
Well, he does Bill Cosby, and he talks like a black guy. And
I just want to point out that's the first time DLR has been on our show in a while. So I'm happy to bring DLR back.
Always glad to hear.
Yeah, he's been gone too long, but he's been in our thoughts.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of impressions, they're talking about Steve Harvey a lot.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I went back to an earlier show from August, and they were talking about Steve Harvey then too. They're obsessed with Steve Harvey. So
why?
I don't know. But what I wanted to ask you about this is the one guy is recounting Steve Harvey's lame bit, and Stav is cracking up.
Right.
And I can't figure out why. So let's listen to this.
Remember back in the day, you just took a piss? And you old, and now it's urine. You gotta be urinating.
So my question is he laughing at the actual Steve Harvey bit? Is he laughing because it sucks so bad? Or is he laughing because he's adult?
I think
You
the
think
last
it's the
one.
last one?
Yeah, that's
It was so weird.
That's 6 minutes of this podcast as I'm talking about Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
And he takes like 3 minutes to tell a 10-second joke.
I'm sorry, I got to back up to the rodeo before we get away from that. This is actually probably the clip that sums up the show for me. I usually try to play this first, but we got out of the gate quick on this one. I call this clip, "This is just nonsense."
Yeah, basically, like 4 clowns would come in and fuck my ass.
In time, how long?
To distract the clowns would fuck my ass so the cowboys could get ready to fuck my ass. While the clowns were fucking
And then
me.
the bull would fuck my ass.
The clowns would fluff my ass. The real cowboys.
Yeah, and that's how I met Steve-O.
No, I was at the rodeo and
It sounds like, you know how you get punchy? You've been up for a long time,
sure,
or you're
yeah.
just overtired, and you're trying to work on something with someone else, and everything starts to be hilarious,
Yeah.
and you're just punchy, and you're just like throwing shit out, like, yeah, cowboys are fucking my ass. Ah!
They do say it's like 12:30 in the morning at one point. Or
Yeah.
so maybe that's what's happening.
Maybe that's what's happening. It's bizarre to me that we, you know, if I had been with them for the previous 8 hours, maybe I'd also think that this is funny, but just joining them in this final hour of this nonsense, I'm completely lost by it.
My track 5 is sort of on the heels of that same conversation. I was just kind of surprised that this is a joke.
My friend Mindy used to, she was a caretaker for this guy with, what's the one where you're like your body's fucked up, but you're not
Cerebral
retarded?
palsy?
Yeah, he had cerebral palsy.
Your body's retarded?
They did get it quick, though.
Oh, my God.
It wasn't the best description, but they figured it out pretty fast, didn't they? Andy, I have a new segment I'm bringing to the show.
Really?
Yes. We're going to start a new segment here on WATP. I even created a stinger for it. It's called No Shit, Sherlock. Here's my stinger. No shit, Sherlock! No shit! No shit, Sherlock! No fucking shit, Sherlock! So here is our No Shit, Sherlock clip of the day.
Guess what? I don't have a job.
No shit, Sherlock! No shit! No shit, Sherlock! No fucking shit, Sherlock!
Wow.
All right, there you go.
Not surprised.
Andy, what else you got for us?
Well, we kind of touched on this. Track 6 is they call their fans cum boys. I don't even think we really need to play the clip. Just the fact.
The fans, I think, call themselves cum boys. I was reading through the subreddit, and it's like, hey, I'm the cum boy from blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. I told my dad, hey, Dad, I'm a cum boy.
You can't talk to me like that. I'm a cum boy.
For life. I went and listened to this at the coffee shop, and I had the phone sitting out, and it has like the title screen.
Oh, right. And it's embarrassing.
Yeah. I was just hiding it from people passing by because it's just for people that should not go find this show. It just looks like the letters are spelled out in cum, and I'm just mortified that I'm sitting in public with this on my phone. Just really embarrassed that this is even a show that's on the internet.
Well, it's like I said, not only a show, but a popular show, and the reason why this episode is called "The Voice of the Left" is because they were picked up in a Vox.com article. And they were talking about that. Did you look into that at all?
No.
All right. There's a Vox article that came out on October 24th. The name of it is Listen to What Socialist Women Are Saying About Misogyny on the Left. And they talk about this podcast. There's controversy over this Chapo Trap House podcast that I guess is affiliated, they're friendly with Cumtown or something. So there's all this information about Cumtown in this article. I like a quote unquote legit news site, so they're very excited about that. But somebody posted as a fan to the Cumtown podcast something that the guy Nick had said specifically on an episode. If you're listening, Scarlett Johansson, go fuck yourself. We're going to comment on your body, Weinstein style, baby. So, of course, this is, the left likes to get, obviously, easily offended. There's a lot of outrage, and everyone's offended by this inappropriateness. It's comedy, people. They're comedians. They say ridiculous things. Well. So, in this article, which is actually really funny, they have pictures of tweets that have been posted. And one of them is from this guy, Adam Friedland.
Okay.
Who is the third host of the show. And it says, Cumtown is not a socialist podcast. It's not a fascist podcast. It's a podcast about being gay with your dad. And they were so happy that this got posted on a legit news website. And they picked that up as if this was like the actual description of the podcast, being gay with your dad. So I think that's kind of funny.
If somebody gets raped and then you come running in and stand up and point and laugh and say, ha ha, you got raped, people are going to get offended. So fuck these guys.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I personally say a lot of ridiculous, outrageous shit, so I always like to say I am not an authority in anything. I'm just trying to make the lulls, so, I always defend the comedians for things that they say when they're just trying to get a reaction out of people and be funny. Here is an opinion that was said on the show that I would call controversial. I've never heard this opinion before. And this is talking about the Scary Movie franchise.
That was a great movie, dude.
Yeah. All of them were fucking hilarious. That was a Scary Movie 4. That was like deep into them.
What the hell are you talking about?
All of the Scary Movie movies were hilarious? What? I mean, Police Academy was great, but Scary Movie franchise? What are they talking about?
I don't know anybody that would agree with that.
Yeah, I don't either. It's anyway, but it does give you a little bit of a look into what they think is funny and maybe explains a little bit more about this show.
Yeah.
Andy, you got some more clips on here. What do you want to talk about?
Well, these two, I got two more. They kind of go hand in hand. Track 8 was when you realize that they're really just flying by the seat of their pants, and I learned that with this clip.
I did.
Yeah, we talked about this. We made this exact same joke 1 episode ago.
I heard that a couple of times. Where the one guy was like ready to set something up. He's like, "Yeah, no, you told that one."
Yeah.
We got
he
it.
said it again. Is this the one where you talk about getting fucked in the ass again and again?
Is that the one with the rodeo clowns? They all gang rape you?
Right.
Yeah, we heard
and
that.
then number 9, Nick finally figures this out.
No one was amused.
Yeah,
that sums up the show.
That's a good ISO right there. I did like that. Here's one. You know, I talk about ISOs. I like to grab just quick clips that you can kind of throw into other conversations.
That's always
and
fun, yeah.
Future WATPs. This one would have been perfect, but they're all talking over each other, of course.
Whatever,
I'm on fire, dude.
I'm glad
I'm
I have
in the
a
pun
foreskin.
zone.
I'm on fire, dude. I'm in the pun zone. And he says, meh. Not impressed.
Nope.
I mean, that's kind of all I have for this show.
Yeah, there wasn't anything to like about it, really.
Well,
it just sounded like 3 guys that I'd rather not hang out with.
It's definitely gets the sense that this is a party we're not invited to. And they don't want us there.
No, look,
they're not
that's
trying
fine.
to get new listeners. Like, the people who are on board are on board. What I can't figure out, and I was trying to do the history of this, like how this all came about, I wanted to know, how did they build this whole thing with this big following going on? And I don't know the answer to that. It doesn't look like any of them are super famous comedians by any means. I think that they're mostly known for this podcast. And when I went to they have their own wiki-style encyclopedia for the show, and I went to the history of it, all it does is describe the history of WTF. Which is kind of funny, because I'm actually, it tricked me. I'm reading through this. I'm like, what does this have to do with Cumtown? Oh, wait a second.
Yeah, I will say again, Nick did say some funny things. They got me to smile, and they're very, like, you know, fratty, bro-y kind of jokes. But it's super hard to listen to.
Yeah, it's tough to just pop it on because there's no format to it. They don't explain what they're doing, who they are, why they're doing it.
It doesn't begin with anything. It doesn't end with anything.
Right. So, all right.
Do your thing, guys. I won't be there.
We've been picked up now by 3 subreddits: the Dick Show, Rover's Morning Glory, and the Adam Carolla Show.
Not in a good way.
Only one of those subreddits actually agreed with us. That was the Adam Carolla Show.
That's awesome.
Which was great. Croge was on here, and him and I are both longtime fans of the show, so we kind of knew enough about it that we could speak intelligently about it. One of the knocks that we get from a lot of people who are into these podcasts, we listen to one show and just deem it terrible based on one episode. So I'm sure that will be one of the knocks on us today, but you know, I don't have time to go back to the whole fucking back catalog and figure out what's going on, people.
Yeah.
We do this every week, so I can't do that.
Yeah. In preparation for the backlash of this, I was trying to figure out a way to drum up some star ratings for this show.
Oh,
Carl.
great.
So
we actually just had a review that came in on November 1st that I wanted to point out. We really appreciate it. A 5-star review from Kirkman81. And I don't read the 5-star reviews, but he says, maybe someday I'll even submit my podcast for them to tear apart. That's all we ask, buddy. Thanks, Kirkman. But all right, what do you got for us, Andy?
Well, you can go ahead and play the clip. This is my effort to bring some rating and reviews to WATP.
Andy, the only co-host who brings production. I love it.
Now it's even easier to rate and review Who Are These podcasts. Introducing the Who Are These hotline. Just dial 888-555-GOAT. Tell us how much you love WATP and leave a 5-star rating.
Who are these reviewers? You got the GOAT. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sure your nephew works very hard on Furcast. No, I'm sorry. It only goes as low as 1 star.
Our friendly staff is just a phone call away, waiting to hear from you and push that star rating up and out of this world.
Go for the GOAT. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll be over tonight for Survivor. Meatloaf is fine. This is not what this phone line is for. Can I put you down for 5 stars, Mom?
3 stars, 4 stars, even 5 stars. Let our trained professionals know how much you love WATP.
What now? What? Ma'am? Ma'am, don't speak to me like that, ma'am. No, your podcast stinks worse than my queefs.
Call 888-555-4628. That's 888-555-GOAT. Don't wait. Review and rate. Operators are standing by. Back to you, Carl.
And the show has reached a new low.
Andy, look at you, man. I love it. That's hilarious.
I'm not kidding though. People,
that's well done.
Apple's trying to fuck everybody. They're putting the battery drain because they got the new phone coming out.
Oh yeah.
If you go in your settings, you refresh your settings, your battery life kicks up, but it also refreshes your podcast thing. You just scroll down, and the review thing is right there. It's so easy to just click 5 stars for WATP.
Oh, I love it.
Save some battery life and give the podcast a 5-star rating.
All right. Give the 5-star reviews. You know who won't be giving us any 5-star reviews anytime soon?
Cumtown?
Well, no, actually, I was going to try to transition. That was one of my professional broadcaster seamless transitions into the next thing that I want to talk about, which is Everyone Has a Podcast. Everyone Has a Podcast is a podcast we reviewed a couple of weeks ago with Andy's brother Joe was on the show, and we put it out on Twitter, and this guy, Matt, said, talking to us and Everyone Has a Podcast, needlessly harsh, dang. So then Everyone Has a Podcast says, we got, quote-unquote, shredded by a 40-year-old SEO marketing dork who plays surf rock in a Simpsons-themed band. I'll live. # surf rock on. Which, okay, that's fine. I can take it. Obviously, we dish it out quite a bit. But it didn't stop there.
It's not true.
It didn't stop there. He made it seem like this didn't bother him at all. And it did. But hold on. I want to go back to the WATP episode from a couple of weeks ago and just play a couple clips to set this up. I want to remind our listeners why we listen to Everyone Has a Podcast in the first place. I should bring up the fact that Adam's the one who reached out to us and asked us to play the show, which I give a ton of credit to. Anytime somebody says, hey, why don't you review our podcast, they know it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
So he actually wrote me a note. Recently found out about your show, love the concept, and says, our show is called Everyone Has a Podcast. And thanks in advance for any consideration. Thanks in advance. I was like, all right, man. I mean, I appreciate your willingness to be shit upon. So I was giving them huge credit because I love it when people have a sense of humor about themselves.
Was the host of this show recommended you do the show?
I would not even know what Everyone Has a Podcast is if it weren't for the host reaching out to me directly and saying, check out our show.
Did he think he was going to beat the odds?
I think so.
Because there's been 1 or 2 instances where you've been like, oh, I actually like this show.
Right. There's been a couple. And I will tell you that, yes, we did shit on them a little bit, but here's another clip from WATP. Just to set the, I want to set the foundation here before I go through these tweets that we got. And this is your brother Joe talking about it.
So I will say, though,
yes.
I like to throw a little encourage-ment out along with the criticism.
Oh,
and that was a well-produced stinger.
Yeah.
I like what they do. What it goes along
There's
with.
some production there.
Their equipment is great. That production is great. The podcast sounds great. They're technically doing everything right.
Okay. So, we were very honest about the show. The content wasn't great, but they did do a lot of things well. We made sure to make that clear. So let me just go through these tweets. So this guy finds a professional picture of me from my company's website, and he posts that, and it says, dude looks like an unfunny Bizarro World version of Tim Heidecker crossed with every stepdad who gets punched in a movie. All right, so that's the first tweet. And by the way, I want to mention that these tweets that are happening, it's over an hour's time. So this guy is just pissed off, like, I'm going to get this fucking Carl guy. Fuck this guy. All right, so that's the first one. So then he posts that picture of me again, and he says, dude looks like he gets friend-zoned by prostitutes. Now, that's a good joke.
Yeah.
That right there should have been the one comeback stinger, like, oh, boom. And I would have been like, all right, props to you. Great job.
Sure.
And it would have shown that we're all in this together. We're all in on the joke. But no, that's not it. That's not it. He has to go for some more. Same picture, my professional picture. This time it says, dude looks like he's next in line to assistant manage an airport Chili's too. Am I?
Not as funny.
Not as funny.
Yeah.
You don't follow up a 7 with a 4.
Yeah.
That's not how you want to do this. But again, this guy does not know for comedy. I've heard his podcast.
Right.
And then it starts to get more and more personal. Obviously, most of the podcasts that we've reviewed have a really good sense of humor about it.
Yeah.
These guys obviously do not.
It's hard to be the butt of a joke.
Well, listen, I've been a butt of many jokes.
Right.
If you have confidence in what you do, it can roll off your back. This guy obviously does not have. He's a little insecure. The other show that took super offense to us was a show called Step by Step.
Oh, I remember.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Those douche nozzles.
It was not good.
They got very upset, but it's because I'm sure they go back, listen to the show, and go, yeah, none of this is landing.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't be doing this.
Be mad at yourself.
If you had a good show, like I can tell you for a fact, we did the Dick show. Dick knows that we did his show. He responded to me in the subreddit. He has not talked about it on his show. He doesn't give a shit.
Right.
His show's better than ours. He's moving on with his life.
Right.
If you're a good show, you just move on and you do what you do. All right, so now this next one that he sends, this is where it just starts to get personal. This guy is fascinating. He claims to market with, and then the name of my company, yet he has the social media presence of a homeless man, #you're 40. Which is odd. So I guess I'm not 40, but I guess being 40 is an insult.
Okay.
Everyone's going to be 40, asshole. It happens. I don't know what to tell you. But having the social media presence of a homeless man. So in other words, this guy was looking all over the web for things that he could trash about me and fuck with me.
He needed ammunition.
And he was having a hard time finding stuff.
Sorry.
I'm sorry I'm not on my phone all day tweeting and Instagramming. I actually live in the real world and have a life with friends and family. Social media is not that important to me. But so I thought that was really funny because it does show that he spent a lot of time trying to find more shit. Well, then he did find more shit. So then he's got to tweet.
Really has too much time on it.
So now he has a picture of me from a photo shoot I did with my band, The Isotopes. Mm-hmm. And we're all sitting around a card table playing cards and just, you know how band photos, you've been in bands before, you know how these things go. They're awkward and awful. It's
staged. And
you're in a band that play live rock shows. It's so much fun. And everything else you have to do sucks.
Right.
So he says, okay, last one. Rule. You should never call anyone a douche ever if you have this photo of yourself anywhere on Earth. Good one. Good one, dude. I mean, come on. Yes, I wear a fucking pocket protector and a green tie. We're a gimmicky band.
Yeah.
It's a bit. Fucking douche.
This whole show is a bit, by the way.
Yes, no shit. They're not. I thought he knew the joke. He asked us to listen to his show.
Yeah, really.
And then I'll just mention there's this fucking troll on Twitter. This techno bully guy. I don't like to give him attention, but he went on and gave us a 1-star review after Kevin left and was like, this show fucking sucks now because Kevin's gone.
Okay.
So he writes, so I see Carl from Who Are These Pod is shitting all over EHAP this week. You guys are really reaching for content, which is the norm. Dummy, I'm not reaching for content. This guy asked me to review his fucking show. And then he writes, and I don't even understand this one. At Who Are These Pod, it's obvious you care about sound quality. We have ears. Why couldn't Kevin the Talented One stay and Carl leave?
That's just Kevin with a different handle.
Well, Kevin goes pretty deep with that, though. That's funny. And then there's one more from Everyone Has a Podcast. We're not done yet. Because now this guy sees that this other guy is jumping out. So he's like, yeah, all right, I got a fan out there. It's like, no, you don't. This techno bully guy's just a douche. But so then EHAP says, I was looking forward to this. I thought it would be more of a roast and less of a garbage fire. You know, what specifically did we not do correctly? It was a roast.
Yeah.
We ripped the shit out of your shitty content and your terrible jokes. I don't understand. What did you think was going to happen on this fucking podcast? I honestly think you're right, Andy. I honestly think this guy was like, we'll submit our show. It's better than their show. They're going to be like, wow, you guys really know what you're doing.
Right.
And then they did not get that response at all.
Yeah.
And it totally freaked him out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun.
Well,
it's fun times, you know. The times we live in now, where you can have this one-to-one interaction with nobodies from Canada that you don't give a fuck about.
Right.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Well, it's good that you could dish it out and take it, Carl.
I love it when other podcasts pick up the fact that we talked about their podcast and then they talk about us. That's what this is all about.
It's only fair.
That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
Like, I love everything I do in life is roast style. You know this.
Yeah.
My band, when we go in and play a venue, we rip out the venue, we rip out the other bands that are playing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't get asked back. Fuck them. I don't give a shit. But that's how I live my life is roast style. And I expect people to give it back. At a roast, everyone gets a turn.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, at my bachelor party, you came up and roasted me.
Yeah, it was great.
Which was hilarious.
And then you roasted me.
And then
and we're still best friends.
And then I cried about it. So anyway, I do have a clip from Everyone Has a Podcast. I have a clip from a recent episode of theirs that I wanted to play. It really sums up their attitude about how this all went down. All right. I'm sorry, fellas. It won't happen again because I'll never listen to your show again.
I can't believe how insulted they were when they asked us to review.
That's the crazy part. If this is just blindsided them, they're like, who the fuck are these assholes just calling us assholes? Then I would totally understand. But the fact that he reached out to me... Anyway, so good stuff. I don't have anything else to say about that.
Yeah, well.
I think I've covered that enough. So you know what that means, Andy.
What?
It means we're at a certain part of our show... That's right. It's everyone's favorite part of WATP. It's the part where we play a clip from the podcast we'll be reviewing next week.
Yeah.
You like this part, Andy?
Yeah. You tickle people's fancy, get them all jazzed up.
I tickle their balls is what I do.
That's what I meant by fancy.
I actually get under the taint a little bit.
That's
and
right.
I get close enough to the asshole that you're like, ooh, is he going to do it? But I don't. I don't get into the asshole until next week.
Yeah. No, careful. That's almost a Cumtown joke.
I know. I've been listening to Cumtown all weekend. This is what happens. You become the 5 people that you hang out with the most. Have you heard that theory?
Well, that happens a lot on this show. You'll be like, I hate it when they say like and when they say yeah. And then all of a sudden you're saying like and yeah.
Oh, fuck you. It's true. It is true. Because I get so involved in these podcasts. I listen to them over and over again. That's not true at all. Who am I kidding? Someone's going to call
You're now a fan of every podcast you've ever shit on.
That's not true at all.
But what's coming up next week, Carl? I can't wait to find out.
Are you on both pins and needles about it, Andy?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to play right now a clip from the podcast we'll be reviewing next week. We review a different podcast every week. So Cumtown, we're past that. We're moving on. There's new things. There's new things happening in life. And if you're a fan of WATP, you're probably thinking, how do you beat that? That was an amazing episode. I don't know. We might not.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have the
I
goat
think this
on
was the
week,
episode
so.
where we finally found out who this podcast.
You didn't even know the host names were. What are you talking about? Who are these podcasts? This show should be called We Don't Know Anything About Podcasts. It's fucking ridiculous. So here's just a quick clip, just a tease of the podcast that we'll be reviewing next week.
Aw. We're putting that little part on Clamor. I cannot believe that.
That was wild.
That was... I can't... First of all, I can't believe that you even suggested it.
Well, she mentioned that she does it, so of course I want her to do it on our podcast.
Great call, I got to tell you, but a little bit uncomfortable on my part, being that you are on the phone with it.
I was like, oh man, this is bizarre, listening to her orgasm with my mother on the line.
It's not something that normally occurs.
Oh, wow.
I don't even know what to say right now. I'm all verklempt.
All right. This is a show called Sex Talk with My Mom.
I got douche chills listening to that.
All right. So this is a listener suggestion that came in, and we're very excited about this one. It is episode number 21, Phone Sex and Live Orgasm Part 1 from May of 2016. Andy Schleiss, I don't know how to pronounce last names ever, was the listener who suggested that we check it out. And let me just read you the description of this. Sex Talk with My Mom offers sex, dating, and relationship advice while exploring the dynamic between a sexually liberated cougar mom and her stand-up comic son. Yeah, that's the right message with that. Let me read you what Andy said when he sent this in.
Not me.
Not you, Andy, a different Andy. He said, I gave one episode a shot, thinking there could be potential for humor in there. It's billed as being hosted by a stand-up and his cougar mother. I don't know. Maybe I got a bad episode, but I feel like this is one you'd be able to tear in a way that is completely fucking hilarious. Here's the website. Always love your content. Thank you. Thank you, Andy. Yeah. Thank you for the suggestion. We are always looking for podcast suggestions.
This seems like someone heard my dad wrote a porno and decided to try and rip it off.
That's a good call.
In a less funny way.
That's a good call. And I'm worried about it because this woman, the mom on this show, her name is Karen Lee Porter.
She sounds 80.
She's a 50-plus-year-old woman and self-proclaimed cougar.
Yeah, plus 30.
She hosts a popular YouTube channel, 50 plus 30, I just got that. She hosts a popular YouTube channel, The Karen Lee Porter Show, and blog. Is that a popular YouTube channel, Andy? I can't imagine that's true. I've heard a lot of popular YouTube channels. Karen Lee Porter has not ever fucking come up. Poter. I don't know why I'm putting an R in there. It's Poter. All right.
Who cares?
I know. Who gives a shit? What are people Googling this and go, Carl, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't find it.
It sounds like boner repellent.
Yeah, no shit. So she considers herself this dating and relationship guru, and she hands out expert advice, even though I'm sure she's thrice divorced and who knows what her fucking story is. But anyway, she's very excited because she brings home a lot of young guys, probably the age of her son, and sleeps with them. And then they get on a weekly podcast and talk to each other about sex. So that's what we're going to be talking about next week. Sex talk with my mom.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. It was 2017 winner in Esquire's top 10 best sex podcasts.
No, get out of here.
How many sex podcasts are there?
I'm sure there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of everything, I guess. Well, Andy, thanks again for coming on and doing the show. And I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to your lovely wife, Jen, for once again putting together an awesome production for us.
Yeah, she had no choice.
I love it. Great stuff. Always love when you guys bring your own bits. Makes my life a little bit easier. And I invite the listening audience, the people who came over here. These people have all tuned out by now if they're listening because they're a Cumtown fan. But please join us again next week because it might be the episode where we find out once and for all, who are these podcasts? Sleep well, every pony.
Farting in the mosh pits of morning radio.
And now the show is over now.
Yes. Right.
Who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck?
Boring.
Who are these
Podcasts.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Makes no sense.
No shit, Sherlock! No shit! No shit, Sherlock! No fucking shit, Sherlock!
I want to bring up that I guess it was like months ago, but I didn't even see it. That there's a podcast called
my God,
What
it's
Are
so good.
What Are These Podcasts?
Oh yeah, you sent that to us.
And they review podcasts, and
Which
they
is
listen
a hilarious thing.
They listen to ours, and it's these two I guess I'm assuming like GenX'rs Midwest guys.
Yeah, they're like 48-year-old guys.
Yeah, from what I can get, like you can hear the soft hits under their flannel shirt and their curved brim, baseball caps.
Yeah.
Just waiting to make Pearl Jam and Klingon references. And they reviewed our show, and it's if every episode of the show could just be chopped up and add their commentary to it, that would be the best podcast. To just listen to them saying the most retarded shit, them clipping it, so even stuff that in context sounds retarded. You take even that away.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm trying to go to the bathroom in my ass. And they're like, 200,000 people download this show. I don't understand it. There's no theme music.
My favorite part is...
This is a new stinger I've spent hours crafting to explain my anger at this show.
For $0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For $0. Because it's all about money to you, right? I'm sorry.
I
I don't know why I'm
we'd be-
hassling.
Yeah, I don't know if
already.
we'd be doing this if we made $0.
I would.
I think
I did comedy for $0 for
Yeah, that's true.
25 years.
That is true.
That's true. 25.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I enjoyed podcasting.
Starting at 4.
I enjoy being a broadcaster.
It is a good. It is
I don't
a good
resent the
medium.
audience.
Yeah,
That was
of
the thing they were
course.
complaining about on that. What are these podcasts? They're like, every joke is just something going into somebody's ass.
Yeah, they played like a 5-second clip of my podcast where I just talked about
Your stand-up.
or my my stand-up.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, these
It
guys
is so
love
funny.
crap.
It's like, well, you can imagine what their stand-up would be, and it's Adam on stage doing that thing where he just says a word a million times.
Yeah, he says poo-poo caca.
Caca, poo-poo, poo-poo, caca. Which is like, just objectively, it's bullshit.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not any real way to do stand-up.
I think it's very funny.
We don't. Yeah. We don't.
That brings
co-sign
down the
that.
house. Anyway, so yeah, the other thing they were like, okay, first of all, they don't say their names at the beginning of the podcast. They don't say, hey, they don't
That's
say
what I love.
welcome to the podcast.
They don't say, you have no idea who these guys
What's
are.
going on
And
here?
then they're like, and my guest today, Andy. Yeah. And the other guy's like, yeah, I'm back. I was like, but who is this? Both of these guys sound like they've been waiting for something to do since Blockbuster closed.
Oh,
Shucks
those guys rule though.
That's yeah.
So
they
anyway.
did a Stav laugh supercut.
It sounded better than the soundboard. Even.
Yeah, it sounded pretty
Did
good.
it?
I mean,
I like
to
the
be
soundboard.
fair, I do feel bad for people like that. They're like, I followed all the rules and I'm still not successful.
Yeah.
And they're like, because we're kind of
Life
like the
is
Homer
gay and
Simpson or
bullshit.
Frank Grimes, I
Right.
guess.
They don't have a song. They got mad we didn't have a song at the beginning of the
Which we
podcast.
did.
Here's a
Guess
song.
what? I didn't want to get sued.
Here's a song. Suck on my dick because I'm gay.
Nice, dude.
Let me fuck your asshole.